I don't remember what Braden wanted to talk about this week, so why don't you remind me, my friend?
I didn't actually let you guys know what I was thinking about because I have been swamped with other shit. But that's okay, because speaking of swamped with other shit, CD Projekt Red,
Fuck, I was hoping it was gonna be
Cyberpunk,
Shrek.
Oh.
I was really hoping it was gonna be Shrek.
that is a
Is this
swampy
gonna be-
topic, my friend. Shrek is going to pop up at one point.
Is this gonna be about overhype, overly death threat responses, or crunch time?
Or all
All
three.
three, baby.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh fuck.
See, I'm glad you
This-
did this because I want to do it too, but
This
I wanted
is
to focus
uh,
on my
later.
thing.
This is a essay entitled "CD Projekt Red: The Dangers of Being Loved by the Gaming Community." Because CD Projekt Red occupies this unique spot as, for literal years, the #1 meme in the PC gaming community was, well, at least we've got Witcher 3. At least Witcher 3 remained the thing that it was. That game alone has such an imprint in modern gaming, and specifically the PC crowd, that CD Projekt Red, by extension, was held up as this monument of game development. They also had this whole thing where they went back on a promise they made before release, saying there's no paid DLC for Witcher 3. Then there's paid DLC for Witcher 3. And yet the company doesn't suffer that public relations coup, because the DLC for Witcher 3 is beloved, is held up as like the pinnacle of expansion design in a story game. This was a title that they kind of earned after one game, because Witcher 1 and 2 had nowhere near the amount of impact that the third one did. Witcher 1 got them on the map, and Witcher 2 was good and released on consoles, which got them a new audience, but it was Witcher 3 that cemented their claim to fame. And ever since then, people were excited about Cyberpunk because it's CD Projekt Red. They can do no harm. And I'm kind of just interested in the fact that this is a company that is a small studio by scope of like their footprint in the community, let's say. It's not a small studio in terms of size, but it is a small studio in terms of, yes.
Can you define footprint? Because CD Projekt Red is, before Cyberpunk released and dropped their stock price, they were the most expensive studio, or like had the most money of all studios in Europe.
Yes,
Like
totally.
bigger than Ubisoft, kind of big. So what do you mean by small footprint?
I'm talking mostly about like the reach they have on the market and like impact, because like while they do have this extreme thing, their entire portfolio is based around, up until Cyberpunk, one franchise.
One game.
Yeah.
One game.
One game. Yeah,
Pretty much one game.
Like they have this massive cultural impact with the one game, but that's really it. That's the one tentpole they have. Whereas with Ubisoft, you look and you have the franchises Assassin's Creed, Far Cry. You have family games with the Rabbids. You have like all these
Uno.
Yeah, you have all
I'm
these
sorry,
small.
a lot of those were the same series, though. You've got Past Towers and Future Towers, which are the same series, just in different times. Also, don't forget Past Towers, the action game, and then the split off Past Towers, the RPG.
Bruce, you continue to astound with your witty sense of humor.
Hey, we're not shitting on Ubisoft right now.
We're not shitting on Ubisoft. It's just super tempting to do so in every episode.
It's hard not to.
Anyway, so this is a studio that had, again, one big franchise and made it into the pantheon of celebrated studios. And I just think that what's happening with Cyberpunk is an interesting look at how shitty we can sometimes be as a community. Because gamers will turn on you so quickly. Gamers do not forgive and do not forget.
No, they do not.
It takes years, and again, like internet historian video for like No Man's Sky to get as beloved as it did. That took a lot of goddamn work, a lot of hard work. Whereas a lot of major studios have all these black marks on their record, and the public relations coup against them is real. You can feel it. Activision Blizzard, Ubisoft, EA.
Ubisoft.
Yeah, all of these companies have this reputation in the gaming community that is a stigma attached to it. You know, whenever a new game is released, it's like this question of like, yeah, but it's EA, right? Yeah, but it's Activision, right? And so that kind of is haunting them. Does CD Projekt Red deserve to have the same thing attached to them? Is it the same sort of situation where the studio itself has faltered and thus we should turn on them? I would argue personally that any studio that forces crunch time on its employees, not a great sort of business model. Is it a, you know, that's one side of the coin. On the other, CD Projekt Red has released a very buggy game, but this was also a game that they've been delaying for years and years. Is it something that should have been let out of the oven in the first place? Is it something that they had any real control over if they were, you know, having to push a project that was supposed to come out years ago and release? You know, should we be thankful that we even have it? It's an interesting topic because, again, CD Projekt Red, one game, massive amounts of public appeal, all the Game of the Year awards, all the hype for Cyberpunk. And going into that, you know, how much of this fault lies with CD Projekt Red, for example? Anyway, those are all the thoughts that have been percolating in my head. And I say this being a huge Witcher 3 fan, and Witcher 2, and Witcher 1. I love them all. I've been on with the franchise and played almost every single game that they've ever produced. So, like, I have a vested interest in them.
Aaron, do you have any thoughts?
See, you look like you've been wanting to talk for a while, so I just want to let you just get it out already.
You can see the little
he just keeps putting up his finger, like, and he's like...
You can see the little steam line rising from his head.
I have been so angry about
Crunch.
About CDPR
all of this
and crunch and
gamers.
I have been going off in conversations with Aaron, and like his entire Discord server is probably so pissed off at me because I just start yelling about things. But like, what was the question? I'm sorry, I'm just so
okay. I'm going then.
Well, so hang on. So you've been pissed about CD Projekt Red, and because of the crunch situations that was alleged to have occurred in the behind the scenes work. Can you talk a bit more about that? Like, because there is some... I will say that there is a devil's advocate opinion that you cannot release a AAA game in this model of the industry right now without resorting to crunch. So it's like, is CD Projekt Red guilty of working in the AAA industry? I don't hold this opinion, but that's an opinion I've heard.
I disagree with that, because, like, they've already made all their money back off of pre-orders. They already knew they made their fucking development costs back. All their marketing costs back. They could have taken another year, had no crunch, released a perfect game, no problems. They didn't need to have this crunch at all.
I think as of right now, they deserve the like 2.5 that the console releases have on Metacritic for Cyberpunk, because like
they don't run.
I think absolutely they should not have released Cyberpunk on the last gen.
No, I wholeheartedly agree.
No, Aaron and I were talking about this earlier, that they should have taken more time, put it back in the oven, really fine-tuned the drivers and everything else that goes into the PC version, scrap the last gen version, and make it airtight for PS5 and Xbox Series X, whatever it's called. Yeah. And, oh well, you miss a generation. It happens with every console. Like, Persona missed PS3.
Well, it's still released on it, but people mostly moved on to 4 by that point.
Yeah, like, it's common. Like,
who cares? You're making a shit ton of money off it either way, like...
Well, I could almost see the situation where, like, their bread and butter is PC. They may have started from the intention of having it be a last-gen console thing, but development just crept on them. I've seen this
Yeah.
happen before, where like features just like all of a sudden just the technology you're working with outpaces what consumers have available. I think they still made the wrong call, as you say, of like they should have scrapped it because it's just the consoles can't handle it, so why sell them a shit product?
The next gen console versions are last gen versions right now. Like people have to wait like months for an update for it to actually be the new gen fucking version. Like fuck.
Wasn't the game, if I'm remembering correctly, the initial announcement teaser for the game, which was the person with the mantis blades in the street, that was released like a month before PS4 and Xbox One released, wasn't it? Like that was 2013.
Was it? I have no
I thought
idea.
It was. I remember
Yes,
being.
it was released a month before the PlayStation 4 released.
Yeah,
Fuck.
I remember being in college and talking to a bunch of fucking electronics nerds about it. And like that's, you know what? That's how games go, baby. Like if they take 7 years to come out, oh well, you want to have something that's amazing and groundbreaking. Look how long Breath of the Wild took.
Yeah.
I bought a Wii U for Breath of the Wild, and
I'm so sorry.
I mean, I got it on Wii U, but I also have it on Switch now because it's a much
better version.
Experience.
See, like, so I'm a big fan of Dragon Age. Inquisition was one of those titles that came out around the tail end of one lifespan and started at another. And there was a common saying that was being said, like, don't get Inquisition on 360, get it on the next gen console, because it's not a game that can run on the 360. Even knowing that, looking back and looking at a game like that, which was similar open world, massive RPG, probably not the same level of scale that Cyberpunk is, definitely, but the last gen version still ran and was decent. Like, Cyberpunk's failure in that regard is incredible.
Yeah, I'm a big believer that we need to stop with graphical fidelity updates because we can't handle them.
No, we're reaching a breaking point.
Aside from a game that was clearly bugged out, like Skyrim, anything by Bethesda really, or these like Cyberpunk stuff, like when have you been like, oh, these graphics are shit, I can't be immersed in it? Like, what we need to focus on, like performance, like lock it on console to 60 FPS. This comes from somebody with a fighting game background, though, where like if you're not locked to 60 FPS, you're unplayable. But like,
I think like a vast majority of people that I know prefer stable games and frame rates rather than cutting edge.
Definitely.
But the cutting edge sells.
Yeah, like Breath of the Wild on Switch looks great. It's not photorealistic. It doesn't have to be. Art, like there's something to be said.
Art style is better than graphics.
But there's also fuck ton of places in Breath of the Wild where it chugs. As soon as you go to the Great Deku Tree, the game's like a painting. you start lighting shit on fire, man, you better have some time because it's gonna take a minute.
Yeah.
I would rather see something that's not photorealistic but can immerse me in the just because you forget. But it's like, I don't know, I can sit there and play Dark Souls 1. Game looks like shit. But like, as long as it's running at a stable 60, I'm immersed because I don't think, oh yeah, I'm playing a game because it starts chugging. But as soon as something starts chugging, it's like,
hell,
yeah,
look at me with Papers, Please. Like, that game looks like absolute fucking shit, but I'm immersed trying to kick everyone out of this fucking country that doesn't have the correct papers.
The game is gorgeous and you know it.
Yeah, I feel like it's not an option of like as simple as like, okay, let's stop pushing graphical fidelity because it's a 2-for-1 street. Like, developers push graphical fidelity because that's what gamers are responding to. That's what people are saying.
Gamers are fucking stupid.
They are.
Like, let's be honest with that.
That's my ultimate goal with this talk, is to talk about how gamers are stupid and studios are stupid.
Oh, we'll get there.
The industry is fucked right now.
Is it gamers that are stupid, or is it board of directors and investors?
All of them are fucking stupid.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
us three guys who have not achieved half as what the developers of Cyberpunk have commenting on this situation.
We're also
asterisk
stupid.
Next to it. Yeah, we're also stupid.
Yes. But we're not as stupid as capital G gamers. 'Cause
Yeah,
we've
look
never
at those
sent
look at those
death threats to
gamers.
people.
Like, they're like, oh no, this game needs to fucking come out now. It comes out, they're sending death threats and saying, well, you guys should have just taken your time. Like, why'd you release it like this, foreheads? Like,
the vicious cycle of I want it now, but it better be perfect. Oh, it's not perfect. Why didn't you take more time? I'm gonna kill you and your family because it's not perfect.
Like,
but I'm
speaking
gonna
of-
kill you and your family if it's not ready tomorrow.
Like, speaking of, like, No Man's Sky, this is the exact same thing that happened there. People got pissed that it was being pushed back and delayed, and then people got pissed when it released. And it's like, the community as a whole needs to chill the fuck out in
yes.
several regards.
I'm not gonna say it's the most entitled group I've ever heard of, but it's definitely a chart topper. Capital G gamers. Like, and by that I mean people who make their personality being a gamer. Like, that's all they have. You know, they don't have depth. They're just like a stock background character in a shitty fanfic kind of thing. They are the ones who are so fucking entitled. Like, what boomers think millennials are is what I think capital G gamers are when it comes to entitlement.
Yeah. I mean, like, there's a lot of issues with Cyberpunk that I think need to be talked about, but I don't hear that. I hear this game is a technical failure. I don't hear about, you know, the crunch other than people super attuned to the gaming news. Like, we should be up in arms protesting it because they treated their developers poorly, not because that it looks like a potato. It does. But that's not the worst thing that it's done.
No. Definitely the crunch time was the worst thing that happened to that development, which honestly led to the graphical fucking issues that we have right now.
Yeah.
I sent Aaron a message yesterday or something, and I was like, hey, it's cool if you and I crunch on stuff, but if one of us ever forces somebody working with us to crunch, specifically on Superhero PR Simulator 2020, which is in development now. I'm happy to announce, you heard it here first. If one of us were to force an outsider who's not us to crunch on that game, like, I'm sorry, I'm done. I'm walking away, or I'm vetoing the other out of the development. Like, there's no place for crunch.
No.
In anywhere, but especially small projects where, like, you know, once it becomes a corporate entity where it's faceless, its crunch is still unacceptable, but you can kind of at least understand why it's there because you can't put a face to the person you're making a slave laborer.
Well, that's why I feel like crunch happens. It's just these corporations that are like, I want my fucking money now. Like, get this game out. I needed my money yesterday.
But I think that's a result of, like, the hype train, because that's why I say it's cyclical, because the consumer is gonna want to play the game because of how much it's hyped up and how much it's marketed, which is a great thing. You need hype in order to sell a project. But eventually that hype becomes too much and you'll never live up to it. And so you end up either delaying forever and people get pissed off, and maybe if your product's good enough that doesn't matter, or you release a buggy game, or you end up like Star Citizen and you become a money laundering scheme.
Let's not go down the Star Citizen path.
I feel like you need, like, qualifications to talk about Star Citizen. I feel like that's, like, one of those minefields that, like, is out beyond the reach of us mortal
We
men.
could have like a whole month of episodes just on Star Citizen.
Star Citizen, yeah. We all download the different versions of the client. Try it.
I'm saying it here. May is Star Citizen month.
No.
Mark it on your calendars.
May is the month that we kick Bruce out of the podcast. Get ready.
May is the last month of Dialog Trees. I guess a question that I have for you guys is: do you think CD Projekt Red is ever going to recover from this?
Yes.
Yeah, 100%.
Like I said, it's a very small impact. They have the one franchise. If Cyberpunk is screwed, and there's no foreseeable Witcher games coming out the next little while, I could see like some issues.
Well, okay, I think if the next gen versions release and those are broken as well, I think there's going to start to be issues.
Sorry, not like from like a business stance. If business stance are going to be fine. I'm talking about the PR situation that they've so carefully crafted for years.
So now the case study I'll cite is absolutely an anomaly and not something that anybody can achieve. But you said gamers don't forget, you know, like they don't let go of their rage. They're spiteful and hold a grudge. I beg to differ because Nintendo has been getting nothing but shit this year for every decision they made.
Nintendo fans are different.
I know, but like what I'm saying is specifically in this case, they like the whole FGC, the fighting game community, is up in arms against them because they sent a cease and desist to Big House because they wanted to do it online during a global pandemic. So keeping all of the nuance around that out of there, everybody who was a Smash fan and a fan of professional Smash as an esport was furious. Then they fucking dropped that Sephiroth is the new DLC character, and people are like, "Oh, fucking poggers, let's go!"
Nintendo's the greatest.
Yeah,
all
no.
it takes is one dope ass trailer where Mario gets stabbed through the chest.
I think the exception to the rule is that gamers don't forgive and don't forget, but they're willing to overlook if you have the tight reins on their most beloved properties. Like, if you have access to the classics of Final Fantasy, Super Mario Brothers, Metal Gear Solid, if you can put those characters in your game, people will do stupid shit to get their hands on it.
Yeah, the problem for CD Projekt Red is they don't have something like that they can just drop in a couple months to make everyone forget or ignore. Their next thing is multiplayer or shut the fuck up. So their next thing is multi. Their next thing is multiplayer or DLC for the game, but they can't really release that until they fix the game. So they can't really pull a Nintendo and be like, "Hey, Sephiroth is now in Cyberpunk."
Hell yeah, man! Are you kidding me?
I think they either have to and I think there's a clear better option. They either have to Anthem it, where
everyone forgets about it and we move on,
and then try and relaunch it, because Anthem's being redeveloped right now. Like, probably
I don't think that. Yeah. I don't think Cyberpunk will reach that state. Yeah.
No, it won't.
I think this is what they will end up doing. They have to, in order to win people over, I think they have to outdo Blood and Wine. I think their DLC has to be better than Blood and Wine.
That's a tall order.
Because that's one of like
the most beloved.
Yeah. Like,
Jesus.
It's not my favorite.
I don't think you can even do that.
But I didn't like Witcher 3, so.
Yeah. Well, like, for a lot of people, I think Blood and Wine hit so hard because it was seen as like not just the culmination of like the Witcher 3 experience. For a lot of people, it was like their attachment to the character. It was an epilogue, and as such, like, it had a lot of like emotional resonance for people. I don't know if Cyberpunk's big enough a brand that you could really do that and like have something where people just latch onto it.
Do you think that's part of the problem? Is that they're starting? It's not a new IP per se, because Cyberpunk exists, like Cyberpunk Red and everything, and like Johnny Silverhand is an established character. But do you think that them taking control of it? Yeah. Do you think that they, if it's like trying to put the hype behind Witcher 3, but behind Witcher 1, do you think they should have tried to tone it down and still
Absolutely not. They couldn't have.
Yeah, there's no way they could have done that.
No. Like, Witcher 1 worked because it was a humble project that came out of nowhere and achieved some really cool things. Witcher 2 built on that. It was only when they got to that third one that they had the levels of development and money to really punch above their weight class and like give us that amazing, immersive, cinematic experience, yada yada yada. Like, it took them 3 games to get there. If I was in their position, you better believe I'm not stepping back down. We fucking fought for this.
Fair, yeah.
Yeah, it's a shame.
I don't know. I think I'm just like, I'm at a loss for words with this because it's so egregious on all sides. Like, CDPR is in the wrong.
Gamers are in the wrong.
Do I think? Yeah, I don't think the individual artists and developers are in the wrong. Like, they're trying to do their best, but the upper management and shareholders and the people calling the shots at CDPR are in the wrong. But they're in the wrong in response to the fans and the consumers and things like that who are demanding it be perfect and be available now, but they're doing that because it was so hyped up, which is back to the upper management. Like, everybody's in the wrong in this situation.
Yeah. I remember the teaser trailer for Cyberpunk, and the words that got me the most excited was at the very end, they flashed the release date for the trailer, and they said, "To be released when it's done." And those words, like, haunt me as I'm thinking of this whole situation. Like, to be released when it's done. A promise to the gaming community that it is not going to be released in an unfinished state. They are going to have this thing ready to go when it's, like, ready to be released. Fast forward 6 years, 7 years. We're entering E3 hype time. Fast forward to now. It's crazy.
Don't worry, those words will haunt your dreams tonight.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, I blame hype, and I think that's an industry problem because
it's good and bad.
Look at the Game Awards and how they have a category for most hyped, excited for a game coming out.
Yeah.
Like we know this is a bad thing, but we fucking buy into it because it prints money.
Yeah, I can't really think of any other industry that like slavers over to be released titles like the gaming industry does. Like, you don't have book fans like storming chapters for Harry Potter. They make up the long line and they wait, and then they're so privileged to get in at midnight. It's not a situation of like people like gaming is something special. It's something
we'll
crazy.
ignore George R.R. Martin fans because they are pretty much gaming fans.
Nobody's sending George R.R. any death threats.
Yes, they are.
Stay alive, you son of a bitch. They're like, if you die, our dreams die with you.
Yeah, but that pisses him off, and he's like, stop fucking calling me fat and old. Leave me alone. Let me write the fucking book.
68, I'm not dying anytime soon, says man who does not look healthy for his age at 68. Ooh, sorry, George. Love you, buddy.
I didn't watch the 2020 Game Awards, but I know you researched and studied them, Aaron. So I want to hear your list of things.
I watched the entire fucking thing today because I'm like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm gonna put so much time and effort into this research. I'm gonna watch the whole thing. I have a fucking list, and you know how many points I have on this fucking list? Hang on.
I want it to be 37 on the dot.
Be on a stone tablet.
28. I'm sorry. Actually, I think 2 of these are praising it. There were a couple good things.
All right, can we run through a step by step? I'm so curious as to what.
Yeah, and do we save thoughts for after the entire list, or do we give them during?
We could talk during.
I think we got to get through all the list before we start talking about it.
Yeah. These points are all over the place. Like, this is like in order of them happening.
All right, no, I want to hear it. Let's go.
Actually, I think a few were like just my thoughts beforehand.
I'm just gonna mute my mic.
Oh my God.
So this way I can freak out and nobody knows.
I want to hear you freak out though.
No, wait, can you hear me talking right now?
Yeah, you're actually kind of echoing.
Oh.
Oh no, that's just your fan for your laptop sounding like, you know.
I'm hanging in there,
Where's
Aaron.
the
I'm
sound
so
coming
ready.
from? What's picking up sound?
I don't know. Okay.
Okay, well you do this. I'm gonna figure it out.
Okay, I'm gonna skip over the ones that are like my general problems with it. Well, let's go order by order. For giving out the awards and shit, we have celebrity appearances instead of actual fucking game developers. Why the fuck do we have Brie Larson, Tom Holland, Gal Gadot? What the fuck? Already see you both bitching. Are you sure we don't want to talk topic by topic? Because like we can.
Lose track so quickly.
Best action game and best audio design were just like quickly read off. Like it's like best action game, this one. Best audio design, this one. Like okay, game trailer. Like why? Why are these things brushed over? At least in the fucking Oscars, where read off a thing, you have people talk. It's good. Like you actually like care about these games. It's not just a fucking thing read off a list. Awards in general were during the pre-show. Why? Why are any awards during a fucking pre-show? People are there for the actual like award ceremony. Why are we giving out awards during a pre-show?
People are not there for the awards.
At this point, earlier, because I think it was brought up, but the actual award didn't happen. They combine categories like simulator and strategy. Like, why would Crusader Kings 3 and Microsoft Flight Simulator be under the same fucking award? I'm loving watching your guys' reaction right now. Yeah, and anyone like listening to this on Podbean or Spotify or whatever, like go watch the YouTube version, just see the reactions. This is another general point that I noticed during the pre-show, but whatever, I'll read it now. This award show is trying like way too hard to be like the fucking Oscars and make video games seem like they're as big as movies. Which, I mean, that one is arguable, but
Please let's not be like the Oscars. The Oscars are fucking insufferable.
oh, here's one of my favorite ones. I love this point. They literally debuted a band at the fucking Game Awards. Yeah, I see you, Bruce. Yeah, I'm not lying. They debuted a band. Yep. What else? We have...
I need clarification on the term debuted here.
I pretty sure this was like this band's first time ever like having their song out there.
And was it like, you know, the Black Mages or something equivalent, where they're like, or Mick Gordon now has a band or something, or is this just like?
I don't remember the name. I was too pissed off to like go back and find the name and research this a little bit more. But do you guys remember the band?
Fever dream.
Do you guys remember the Canadian band Prozac? Where it was like the little animated guys. This was an animated band. This was an animated band.
Are you sure it's not the Gorillas?
Yes.
Because like Gorillas dropping a song is weird, but it's hype.
Yeah, I would accept it if it was Gorillas. No, fuck you. I'm keeping my mic on.
These next ones can like kind of be thrown together. Why do we have so many esports categories? I don't give two shits about the fucking coaches, the esports hosts, or the fucking teams. We're here for the game developers. And they had best esports athlete, which led into an ESPN ad / promotion.
I actually think that the point about esports, I think that it's important to have those. I don't know about them taking up too much time, but I think like putting them in the Game Awards is a nice way to kind of like flesh out the full dimensions of the industry and like give a nice little nod out.
I feel like that's something for the pre-show though.
Having like an athlete pre-show athlete of the year / like competitor, so you can include teams. Absolutely, but and you know it kind of sucks because the coaches are thankless, but I'm sorry, I don't give a fuck about who owns FaZe Clan or who's coaching them right now.
Right? Like,
shout out to 100 Thieves. I don't know anything about them, and I'm not going to.
Like, I understand esports are a big thing, but that should have been pre-show, or, you know, if you're gonna include it in the main thing, don't, you know, have, like, audio design at the fucking pre-show over esports? Like, fuck off. I'm pretty sure it was audio design. I don't know. It was a lot. I was pretty pissed off. And yeah, the best esports athlete leading into an ESPN ad / promotion, like, fuck off. Literally fuck off. This one I'm not 100% sure of, but I'm pretty sure they had fake applause going in the background, like a fucking sitcom, because it's COVID and I'm pretty sure they don't have their arena packed, so I can't confirm or deny this one.
Absolutely, it was Jeff Keighley off to the side and just like he was just like pressing a button. It was actually like a whoopee cushion he had in his shoes. He just kind of like settled on the step a little bit, and that just triggered the applause.
We already talked about this one, but most anticipated game being a fucking category. Like, what the fuck? Hey, like, we're giving this game an award for, like, just, you know, a debut trailer that fucking popped up a few months ago. Good job. Keep up the good fucking work.
There is a YouTube channel called Daily Updates to Elden Ring. And it's going 179 days straight of daily updates for any new information on Elden Ring. And for the Game Awards day, it just said, oh yeah, Elden Ring was...
Well done, Elden Ring, for winning most anticipated game. Yeah. Thank you for listening.
Every video ranges from like 30 seconds to a minute and a half because there's nothing happening.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry for your hype.
Well, it's just like Game Awards are just, it's advertising. It's not there to celebrate games. It's there to give people a reason to watch. Like, there shouldn't be new games debuted at the Game Awards. I think it dilutes the purpose.
Yeah, it kind of...
Could you imagine if the Oscars just showed new movie trailers?
Here's Quentin Tarantino's new movie. Everyone fucking losing their shit.
Could you imagine if 2020 or 2021 Oscars debuted the trailer for Avatar 2 and then it just didn't come out for 10 years?
God, that trailer would overshadow the entire fucking Oscars.
What
what? I think it would.
Like, the other thing with this most anticipated game is that it's never going to be given to a game made by any mid-range or smaller studio. Most anticipated always goes to a AAA, like Halo Infinite, Horizon Forbidden West, God of War sequel, Resident Evil, Breath of the Wild 2. None of those games need the extra boost.
It's who has spent the most money or used their money most efficiently. Basically, it's like who's
pretty much
and is good at being rich.
Okay, I'm gonna point out something good. Yeah, you heard that. Something good about the Game Awards. They had they had a whole segment looking at Latino devs in the industry, which is actually pretty fucking cool. Yeah. We should have more shit like that instead of, you know,
absolutely.
Like the next two, a fucking Doom Eternal ad after Best Valorant Streamer. Yeah, it's like Best Valorant Streamer, this person. Okay, Doom Eternal ad.
Well, I mean, Doom Eternal just launched on Switch, so you gotta get.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Advertising out for it, you know.
And then they had Dr. Lupo talking, and like, okay.
A couple weeks ago, I said it would be really cool if Doom Eternal came to a mobile platform, and now Doom Eternal is available on Switch, so I'll eat my words on that.
Bruce, get your bib ready.
Okay, so next one, they have like Dr. Lupo talking, and like the entire time is like Dr. Lupo partnering with Gillette. Why do we have these things? Yeah. Next one, they had an ad about some gamer talking about how nicotine and vaping is bad. Oh, yeah, that's literally a thing. I'm sitting there like, what am I watching? Apparently I'm back in fucking elementary watching Dare ads. Next one is a personal shit talk. This isn't actually wrong with it, but I personally think it's wrong. Why the fuck is Animal Crossing under consideration for best multiplayer? The multiplayer for the game is literally fucking shit.
Yeah.
I don't care who you are, how much you love that game, that multiplayer is shit.
Multiplayer was there to facilitate the stock market, and that's it.
Yeah, that is a bizarre. Like, I could see it winning so many other categories, and like going up there because, like, honestly, like it was a game with a big impact. But multiplayer?
Yeah, it didn't win, thankfully. In fact, Among Us won, which is like another problem that I have, is that a game, as much as it deserves to win and it deserves praise, it's a 2018 game. Kind of shouldn't be at the Game
What are you
Awards.
talking about? Among Us only existed when COVID-19 hit
Right.
the world. It was not a. You're lying. You're straight up lying. Don't twist the people's minds.
Like, I love
came
seeing
out
how
this
happy
year.
those like 3-4 devs were. It was awesome watching like a small team win an award like that. But no offense, it's your game came out in 2018.
Yeah.
Inner Sloth deserves the respect, but I contest your view on this because in the modern era of post-release patches, when does a game truly launch if you can rebuild it? Like Final Fantasy 15, they completely rebuilt one of the chapters. Does that mean the game, like when does the game exist in its completed state? Is it on launch even though
I can play it when I bought it, and I can play it.
So that's like saying 2 years from now when Cyberpunk is fixed, be like, oh yeah, this is Game of the Year 2023.
I mean, but that's what the thing is. Like, how do you describe these? Because there's no.
Well, see, they had a category for best ongoing game, so I feel like it should have more so been under there.
Everything's an ongoing game.
I know, but
like, I think that you could see Among Us as like one of the biggest successes of consistent developer support leading to a huge player base.
yes.
Leading to capitalizing on that momentum. I'm kind of perplexed that it was No Man's Sky that won, because No Man's Sky, like, most of their best work was done like last year or the year before. I
was pretty
see them
surprised
as
by that
doing-
one too.
What even happened in 2020 for No Man's Sky?
They released something.
Mm.
I've never played it.
Anyway, continue on with your list, my friend.
Content Creator of the Year presented by Adobe. Hey guys, if you want to be content creators too, you should get Adobe. Here's a fucking free trial product code. Follow the link.
God.
They had a whole bit of two people from Cobra Kai where they're like, oh, I'm Team Abby. I'm Team Ellie. Why? This is fucking stupid. It feels like that stupid shit that's shown before movies in a fucking theater. Pull out your phones and vote for which team you think is gonna win.
Okay, wait. One Cobra Kai, like the Netflix show.
Yeah, they had.
The vein of Karate Kid.
Yeah, they had like
And
two cast characters on there.
Abby,
Actual martial artists from Cobra Kai show up. Judo shop.
Battle out to
Lee.
decide which character's better.
are those two characters from Last of Us 2?
I don't.
Abby and
Oh
Ellie?
yeah, Abby and Ellie.
Yes,
Yes, Last of Us.
Abby and
Part
Ellie.
2.
Okay. Man, I'm really showing that I'm a fake gamer.
Whenever you hear anybody complaining about Last of Us Part 2, chances are they're talking about Abby.
Yeah.
We're
Or
gonna
Ellie.
get to that in this segment. Just wait.
Another good thing, it's not really about the Game Awards, it's more so a game that was shown. It Takes Two is giving away a free copy with the purchase of one because it's a co-op game, and I think more co-op games should do that. So
But didn't you already bitch about trailers being shown at the Game Awards?
yeah, but I like that they're giving out a free copy with co-op
Okay,
games.
so you're
That's
angry
pretty
that
dope.
They advertised, but you're cool with the practice.
I'm cool with them giving out a free game when you buy a
Okay,
game.
okay, I understand.
Yeah.
I understand.
Oh, here's
Hey,
an
does that mean I can have your free copy?
probably. Another
Wait, is this a problem like a yes or a probably in the same way you said you'd give me your PS4 when you bought a PS5?
We're not going down the PS4 route right now. The next two are actually praises as well. They had an accessibility award, which is really cool. I don't think The Last of Us Part 2 should have won that, but that's a whole other discussion.
I'm kind of curious as to what else would even qualify for that category. I can't think of anything else that like made waves with the amount of like options there were for customizing the experience.
Honestly, a game that I think wasn't even on that list, Spider-Man Miles Morales, their fucking like accessibility list is like you have to scroll through it. There's so much shit.
Yeah, Spider-Man, the original Marvel Spider-Man had some really good accessibility options. I don't know about Miles Morales, but
same stuff, but with more, I think.
You could toggle on/off on the QuickTime events and things because those button presses and like the rapid presses and things like that can be very hard for some people.
I turn them off because I'm lazy.
And yeah, and like sure, but there's I think all games need accessibility options like that because like for example Mario Kart. It can be hard to hold your thumb down on the accelerator.
Yep.
That's why they have the always go forward mode. Like, great. I want to see more studios doing accessibility options. I think, honestly,
like if you could drop the concept of like a difficulty setting and just fold that into accessibility, I think that would be perfect.
And I think we need ubiquitous. Like all games need to have controller remapping options.
Yes. Which the accessibility thing kind of like leads into like they showed like a next bit of like some neurosurgeon talking and how he made a game for people with ADHD and the FDA like actually approved it and like people can get prescribed this video game now. It's a cool thing, and I think like more like cool shit like that should be shown at the video game awards. Like, next one, Bruce.
It's just like I prescribe you to get good. Do not come back until you got here.
Says here that you have not completed the main base game of Dark Souls yet, so unfortunately I can't approve you for a summoning license.
I thought you were gonna like kind of go like dark with that route and be like, I can't approve you for a new heart. Go get good first.
So push back until we. Yep, I'm actually bumping you down the organ donor list until you get.
Sorry, champ. The next one, Bruce. I needed to talk about this in my server.
Should I turn my mic on mute quick?
I mean, you already know what it is. So they had a laptop ad, and it starts off with it saying like, "Gamers are superior people," and it turns into "We're gonna donate our DNA for the next generation of gamers." And some dude was like, "Yeah, you can have my swims." And it's like, "Yeah, here's our laptop." It's like, what? What is this fucking trailer?
What are you talking about?
Eugenics and skull sizes, because that's the parallel I'm making.
This was the most out of place thing, and this happened like towards the end of the award show too.
When your brain's already fried and you're just like barely hanging in there. You could have my swims.
Yeah. After I watched this thing, I'm like, okay, I'm just like skipping ahead, and I like watched 3 more minutes of the thing, and there was like half an hour left.
I'm sorry, did they use the term swims?
Yeah, one of the actors said swims.
I have to assume that word sperm, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
He meant sperm.
I as a human being, I think that they should have been more inclusive to people who don't have sperm.
Well, that's why I talked about DNA at first and had females in the trailer. Oh yeah, I'm sorry, Bruce.
No, I feel perfect.
Well, that sucks. You're not a real gamer then. Sorry.
I already did say I'm a fake gamer boy.
Yeah, and this just kind of cements that. I'm sorry.
What it takes is strong swims.
Forfeit your gamer card.
All right, so let's get back to some of my Actually, okay, no, there's one more problem that I didn't write down because I was already so angry about it, and I just knew it. The Last of Us Part 2 winning Best Game Direction when they had crunch time. And that wins over top of Hades, where they have forced vacation time. How can you have Best Game Direction with crunch time?
Yeah.
Riddle me that, Batman!
I think it's just a case of, like, I also think that, like, the cult of personality that is kind of formed around Neil Druckmann is, I think, to the game's detriment, because it's kind of has created this sense that everything is related back to that person. Whereas, like, I don't know, I feel like Sucker Punch or Supergiant Games just, like, blew people away with the amount of work that they put into this, and kind of just, like, showed off, like, how to release a game in 2020. But I mean, Hades is, I don't know. I'm a big Hades stan, so I'm just annoyed that Last of Us Part 2 walked away with game direction.
I know.
Without even, like, Hades's or Supergiant's stance on development and direction and things like that, I would have wanted I wanted Hades to win Game of the Year. Just
I did too.
You to the industry, like, the industry is eating itself a lot. Like, it's auto cannibalizing because everything's ballooning, and seeing a small studio indie team get Game of the Year, it's like, all right, I can get behind this. It's like the only thing better would be seeing, like, Toby Fox get, like, Undertale or Undertale 2 or whatever, get, like, Game of the Year. That'd be sweet because it's one guy.
Yeah, I think that, like, specifically, like, what bothers me about Last of Us Part 2 winning Game of the Year is because what it did, it was basically trying to do what Spec Ops: The Line did all the way back when in 2012. Why are we acting like it's new to criticize violence in video games? We've been doing this shit for a decade.
Fucking Nancy Bush. Was it Nancy Bush? I don't know. Bill Clinton's wife, something like that.
Well, like, talking about violence in video games from, like, the outside perspective, yes, but, like, a video game that criticizes...
Yeah.
Nancy Clinton. Presidential election 2016, Trump versus Nancy.
Oh, I'm an idiot.
Good thing we're not editing that out.
Yep. Do you think, like, if Jackie Kennedy... Never mind, that's getting into a whole political thing. So, like... Again, like, it's like one of those things where it's like, I don't even think that this is the best game that talks about violence in video games. It just does it in a really ham-fisted and cinematic experience.
It also does it in a horrible way.
I don't know anything about The Last of Us 2. In fact, I never even finished Last of Us 1. I got to, like, spring or fall or winter. I don't know.
I got to a season.
Yeah, I got to a season. And I never played it again.
Bruce played like 5 minutes, though. Yeah, it got to summer.
Well, I don't know. Like, I did a one night of it, but like, I don't know, like 6 hours straight. So, like, nothing. But I've heard you talk about Last of Us 2, and it's like, it makes no sense. Like, the plot point is stupid, and if we want to give a spoiler warning, we can talk about it.
Well, it's a game that tries to beat you over the head with the idea that, like, you know, your perspective is not the only correct one. But it does it in, like, the most boring way a video game can.
Pretentious way.
Yeah, it's just, like, it's because of the fact that the game is so on rails, like, it doesn't mean anything to force you into doing these things, because it's just reveling in violence and making you watch it, and, like, don't you feel bad for what you've done? Like, again, we've done this before. We've done it way better.
You also gave me no options to avoid this violence, so what was I supposed to do?
Yeah, so people were complaining again about this in Spec Ops.
This when we upload it, but
yeah,
or I guess free audio listeners, but nobody cares about audio listeners anyway. But like they could have just done something like Dishonored, where there's actual consequences
Right?
for killing people.
See, like I like Dishonored. Like I have the choice to not kill people, and if I do at the end, the game's like, hey, you're a fucking piece of shit.
Yeah. I think so. Like for me, it's most applicable to Spec Ops because Spec Ops is the other big artsy game that when it came out, people complained a lot about how it made you do its most horrific act of violence, and they're like, "Well, the game didn't give me a choice." Yes, that was true. However, Spec Ops also features other moments where you do make the choice, and that's the important part. It also criticizes violence, I think, in a much more interesting way than Last of Us Part 2, which just like revels in being horrible and then looks back at you and is like, "So, feel bad yet? Okay. You need another 8 hours with these characters before you can really get the lesson."
Spec Ops is, I think, a special case because, like, whenever people say games aren't art, that's one of the first games I say, like, no, this is art through and through. Like, that's like the first peak of modern, and I mean like post 2000s games are art. Now we have other ones, and there's definitely been since then, and there were before, but I think that was the new peak that was hit in the post millennia discussion of games as art.
Yeah. I mean, it's the one that comes to mind most when I think about this specific topic, but I know it's not the only one. I mean, Silent Hill has been doing this for ages, where it gets you to consider, like, the player character you're doing, and you like, do you really like the protagonist? Are you supposed to like the protagonist? Like,
I mean, if you really want to be divisive and cause some strife, you say anything Hideo Kojima's had his hands on.
exactly. Oh man. Ugh.
Was there anything else on your game awards list?
The rest is like my personal like opinion, I guess, but some of it's also facts. That most of the show is just people pushing products. Like, let's be honest.
Yep.
That's kind of a huge problem. Like, you're not really seeing that with the Oscars.
Yeah.
But, like, we're trying to be as big as the Oscars, but we're pushing Adobe and Gillette and Swim laptops.
Sperm laptop sounds like a great brand.
Man.
Just imagine a MacBook, but instead of the Apple logo glowing, it's like a little
Sperm.
Oh my god. Hell yeah. Oh yeah, I'm ready for my swims.
RGB the sperm.
Oh my god.
Oh my god. I'm a huge BioWare shill, and I knew going ahead of time that the Game Awards was going to feature BioWare teasers. When I look at any sort of video game advertising and it's just a cinematic that's prepared ahead of time and doesn't show anything, like, as a huge BioWare fan, I walked away from that like, oh yeah, whatever.
Okay, that's actually another problem of mine, is that we have cinematics over gameplay at that thing for both what the trailers that shown and the fucking games that win. Oh, hey, you're a AAA cinematic game. Here's an award. Good job.
Yep.
Do it again.
Be more like movies.
Yeah, for an award ceremony that's trying so hard to reward people for being like movies, they don't want to be like the Oscars, which I get. Don't be like the Oscars, but don't just be a fucking... The Game Awards is the football of video games because it's just there to sell ad space. Yeah, I'm sorry, NFL fans. Your sport exists to sell ads.
Yep.
And cause brain damage.
My last one to bitch about, and Bruce, I know you disagreed with me on this the other day, but I really don't like the fact that they have a jury deciding the awards. Their jury is comprised of people from the gaming industry, so like you're just pulling in all these people that are just pandering to a certain fucking game. They want a certain game to win.
I think it's hard to argue like against that though. Like, what would you replace the system with?
See, either have like the viewers have more input instead of 10%, or actually like bring in like real developers and not these like head honchos that are like pushing an agenda. Having like heads of Sony, Microsoft, and Nintendo in the jury, that's kind of an issue.
Veto vote. The Game Awards.
If you give it up to fan voting though, like people are either just gonna shill for their favorite company that they're a fanboy for, or they're gonna discredit things that are amazing that they just didn't play. Right?
See,
so I think
there's problems with both of it though.
I agree. I think you have to go via journalists almost, and that raises the whole question of games journalism. What makes a good journalist? Because you've got people who are going to rag on Dean Takahashi because he can't finish the tutorial of Cuphead, and then you're going to have people who say like, "Oh, you're Kotaku in action" or some bullshit like that. Like,
you said too much water.
Like I think you need an industry insider to do it.
I think we have the wrong industry insiders in the position that's deciding these things.
I think you need a different group of insiders for every category, and of course you can have crossover there, but maybe the people who are judging best RTS, which should be different than best simulation, shouldn't necessarily be the same.
I'm sorry, Bruce. How is Microsoft Flight Simulator not the same as Crusader Kings 3 and XCOM Chimera Squad?
I play all those games with the intent on causing as much collateral damage as possible. So really, I think it just
that comment alone is gonna get us flagged by the.
Great. We're with that one comment, we're now flight risk for the rest of our lives.
Sorry, I'm sorry.
Get ready to be TSA randomly selected.
And for some reason, whenever I stop by Europe, they just flag me for random checks. I don't get it. Just because I've simulated murdering thousands of Irish settlers. Anyway, I think in the interest of preserving our length and giving our listeners a break from our lovely voices, I think since we're talking about Game Awards, we should probably segue to our individual picks.
Yes, I was thinking of that. I think we cut the regular episode here